Zettel für die lange Weg. 2 Flaschen Whisky für die Zeit. Und ich date gern habe, du bist dabei. Maria geht, fahrt mal weg, ist weit. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Hab kriegt mein Zettel für den langen Weg. Du schönste, als mir finden kann. Es hat Maria und Dale ganz wunderbar. Hass ich dir den weißen Dank. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Well, hello, liebe Leid, Gouda, Ovid, to all the dear people out there joining us for another episode of PA Dutch Live. I am so glad to be back with you guys. We are now in October, and boy, do we have a great show planned for everyone this evening. We're going to welcome on here in a little bit the famous and wonderful watercolor artist, Jeff Marks. We'll bring him on here in about 10 minutes or so. You know what the deal is. If you watch this show from month to month, shoot in the comment section, whether you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, doesn't matter. Let us know where you are joining us from. I love to see where all of you lovely viewers are bringing the love from. We got love from Kansas already, Midwest opening up the show. That's great. Our dear friend Carol Diefenbach Kantner joining us from a chilly but beautiful downtown Birdville. It is chilly today. Today felt like fall, I think, up here in the mountains of central Pennsylvania as well. Jennifer says, hello, everyone. Purple Heart. That's great. Thanks for joining us, Jennifer. I love your hex sign logo there. We got Dolly. She joins us every month from the beautiful hills, colorful hills. It is that time of year, people, of Berks County, Pennsylvania. Jen is joining us from Berks County as well. We got Berks County so well represented. Don is joining us from Midlothian, Virginia. He joins us almost every month. Great to see you again, Donald. And Rachel, she's going to be surprising us here a little bit later on in the show. Welcome from Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Rachel, our dear friend Rachel Wiesbaza, for joining us from Fleetwood. Well, just outside of Fleetwood. You know, Fleetwood's really big, everybody. And there's all these suburbs to Fleetwood. John is joining us from Kansas. Oh, we got Kansas represented twice. Our friend joining us from across the ocean, Herbert Tevel, is joining us from across the ocean, staying up late. We usually have a couple people from across the ocean join us, and I welcome anybody. So if you're watching for the first time, now you know what to do. Put in the comment section where you're from so that I know where we got us joining people. Gary Weaver from Egypt. Now, everybody, not Egypt, the country, but the bigger place, Egypt, Pennsylvania, out there. And I believe that's Lehigh County, right, Gary? I think I'm right about that. Well, keep bringing those comments. I'm going to throw to our normal beginning of the show stuff. Tonight, we got some news. I have some updates coming at you from things that are going to be happening in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch region. And then we'll bring our guest on. As you can see, we got Jeff Marks. He's waiting in the green room. He's sipping coffee and eating donuts, and we'll bring him on here in a couple of minutes. Dory is joining us from Michigan. Well, hi, Dory. Great to represent the MIT. The MIT is represented. So, and real quick, DJ3 from Rochester, New York. Thanks for joining us, DJ3. All right, people, let's start off with this. I have to start the show on a sad note. The Pennsylvania Dutch community recently lost a very dear friend, and it was a good friend of mine, too. I don't know if you know Uncle Jeffrey. He always went by Uncle Jeffrey. He was a pretty popular media personality in the southeastern Pennsylvania region. He had his own cable television channel and shows where he showed music videos, and he just loved all things Pennsylvania Dutch. He was a good old Pennsylvania Dutch boy, and wherever I went, whether it's a Groundhog Lodge event or a Versammling or the Folk Festival, you would see Uncle Jeffrey walking around with a camera, taking video for his TV show, and he just absolutely loved everything Pennsylvania Dutch. Sadly, we lost Uncle Jeffrey to a strong battle with cancer on the 3rd of this month in October, and I just want to say, as we say in Pennsylvania Dutch, Ruhe in Fried, rest in peace, dear friend. We look forward to the day when we can see each other again. Uncle Jeffrey, what a great guy. What a great, great guy. Also, some news for those of you that are on social media, you might know this already, but there is a brand new version of a new Pennsylvania Dutch themed flag that is out there that you can purchase. Here's an image of it. It's got traditional Pennsylvania Dutch style folk art with a rosette with the double-headed distelfink, and the words around it say "Mia sin die Duitscherei." Translation: We are the Pennsylvania Dutch area, region, could represent people as well. This flag is available for purchase through online. It comes in different sizes, a regular standard flag size, and then also smaller flag size as well. I've saw some that people ordered that you can kind of like put on your car. There's ones for those people that have those little flag posts outside their garden, the kind that say like welcome, all that. You can get this size as well. So check out, and we'll put some links in the show notes where you can, if you're interested in purchasing one of the flags, you can do that. What's next? There is some absolutely wonderful, interesting things coming up in the Pennsylvania Dutch country. Let me share these two events coming up at the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center in conjunction with the Kutztown Folk Festival on Sunday, November the 20th from 2 to 4 p.m. You do not want to miss this. There will be I'll call it a symposium. There's going to be two speakers talking about local legend Mountain Mary. Now, those of you that are from Berks County and that region know the story. Most of you probably know the story of Mountain Mary. But that day from 2 to 4 p.m., my good friend and our good friend of the channel, Dr. Josh Brown, professor of German out at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, but he's originally a Lehigh County boy, Pennsylvania Dutch boy. He will be speaking on celebrating Mountain Mary, the art of folkcraft. And then the director of the center, Patrick Dunmoyer, who's also a friend of the show and a friend of the channel, will be talking about Anna Maria Young, that was Mountain Mary's real name, sainted healer of the Ole Valley. That is a ticketed event, but tickets are still available. If you are interested, just go to kutztownfestival.com/events and order your tickets. I don't remember how much they cost. But all the information's on the website. And also at the same time, in the month of November, at the new center, at the new Cultural Heritage Center, we have a brand new building, a beautiful building that just opened up on the campus of Kutztown University. They will be presenting Mountain Mary Contemporary Visions of the Sainted Healer. It is an exhibition of old and new artistic works and artifacts exploring the life and legend of Anna Maria Jung, the Sainted Healer of the Ole Valley. So two opportunities to learn more about the famous Pennsylvania Dutch heroine, I'll call her that, Mountain Mary. Don't want to miss those things for sure. For those of you in southeastern Pennsylvania, also coming up on the weekend of December the 9th and the 10th in historic Schaefferstown, that's in Lebanon County, Schaefferstown in Lebanon County, they will be having their annual Christkindl market, their Christmas market, and the information is there. You can find them on Facebook as well. It's a really nice event. And if you want to travel a little bit farther, I don't have a card talking about this, but what county is that? In Union County, close to where I live, in the town of Mifflinburg, they will be holding their traditional German-style Christkindl mark the exact same weekend, the 9th and the 10th. It's a great event. It's free. They shut down 2 streets in Mifflinburg, and it's full of vendors selling Christmas stuff, good food, German-themed food, entertainment. So I would recommend, if you got that weekend free, go to Schaefferstown on Friday and head up to Mifflinburg on Saturday. You won't be disappointed. Also, I announced this last month, but I'll announce it again. There is a new book that is out available called Folk Tales of the Pennsylvania Dutch, Stories of Witchcraft, Magic, and the Supernatural by William Boyce Weaver. He is a very well-known author of Pennsylvania Dutch cultural things. He's written a lot of books about Pennsylvania Dutch food. This is his latest publication. It is available for $35. It's a 200-page hardcover book available through the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center at Kutztown. You can order it through their website. My copy just came last week, and I have to be honest, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I did read the cover, the back, and the intro, and I know it's going to be good because William does amazing work. Amazing work. Also, for those of you that have always wanted to learn Pennsylvania Dutch, I have 2 opportunities coming up for you. If you are in the greater Berks County region, but actually this one's going to go beyond no matter where you are. The Berks History Center, under the direction of our good friend Brad Smith, who is the archivist there and a good Pennsylvania Dutchman, he will be offering virtual PA Dutch classes January 9th through February 27th. If you're a Berks History Center member, it's $50. If you're a non-member, it's $120. To get more information, to sign up, just visit their website. Go to berkshistorycenter.org, I believe, or Google search Berks History Center, and you can get in on that. They are also doing some in-person in-person classes. I know they're running some right now. I talked to Brad a couple of weeks ago. He was at an event that I was at, and he said that they're having so much of a reaction from people that want to do this that it looks like they're going to make this maybe not a permanent thing, but something that they are going to continue doing. So virtual classes, and they're going to continue doing in-person classes too. So here's an opportunity for you, no matter where you live. You got access to Zoom, you'd be able to take some Pennsylvania Dutch classes through the Berks History Center. And those will be introductory level course for this one here that's running through the January 9th through February 27th. And also, this is going to sound like it's at the last minute because it kind of is, but our good friend Luella Sibo Reed, who teaches Pennsylvania Dutch classes at Lehigh Carbon County Community College. And I've announced her stuff before. She has a brand new level 2 class starting, and this is on Zoom as well. Starting tomorrow, she sent me a message today and said, please announce this tonight. It's not too late to sign up. So the information is there to enroll. Call 610-799-1197. I think you can also enroll if you go to their website and just look up Pennsylvania Dutch. It should come up. But she wanted me to announce that as well tonight. All right, so that's that. And anybody else giving shouts? Dolly says, R.I.P. Uncle Jeffrey. If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. He loved to say that. And yeah, he just was a great, great guy. Also, Alvin Nepper is joining us from Weatherly, Pennsylvania. Hi, Alvin. Our good friend Brigitte Weinsteiger. She's been on before. She joins us every month. She's greeting us from Philadelphia as well. Brigitte, so wonderful to see you. All right. No further ado, I need to bring in our guest this month. I am constantly watching the internet and social media for, potential people that would fit this show that I'd love to bring on. And I've known Jeff for a while, and I've been watching his stuff, and I was like, what, Doug, why haven't you had him on the show yet? And I reached out to Jeff a couple months ago already and said, Jeff, would you be willing to come on the show? And I don't even think I finished writing the email, and he had already replied. He was that fast that he got back to me and said, Doug, I'd love to come on the show. So without further ado, let me bring in Jeff Marks. Jeff, thanks for joining us tonight on PA Dutch Live.
Hey, well, thank you for having me, Doug. I really enjoy being here and able to talk about my art.
So before we start looking at your art, because we got tons of images to share with everybody tonight, tell the audience a little bit about, what's your Pennsylvania Dutch connection? Where'd you grow up? What role did Pennsylvania Dutch play for you as a child and in your life?
Oh, my. Well, I grew up in Berks County, moved to Lancaster County, and now I'm living in Lebanon County. So growing up, all my ancestors, aunts, uncles, relatives, whatever, spoke the dialect. And I was around it all the time. So growing up, I heard the language, but yet it was at a distance, for me. And then later on, as I became interested in history was like a prime mover for me. And I just thought, wow, this culture that I'm around, it's like it's slowly passing us by. And I just became more and more interested in it. And that's what led me to where I am today, enjoying in the history of the Pennsylvania Dutch.
So you choose to do, you're an artist, and you choose for your themes and the work that you do, Pennsylvania Dutch related imagery. You told us that it's an important part of you, but when you sit down to create a new image, as you're painting and coming up with these ideas, do you, this will sound a little cheesy, I don't know, but I'm gonna ask anyway, do you feel a sense of your ancestors there? Helping, like giving you inspiration for these images?
Well, absolutely, Doug, because, I've had, an Aunt Emma, Eva, Jacob, Edna, and they were all the salt of the earth, very Dutch, people. So the inspiration was always there because it's kind of like somebody that reads a book, but has to, in order to really understand it, you kind of have to really, if you partake in it and live it. Well, I lived in that era where, you know, they butchered on the farm, you know, and every stone farmhouse my aunt lived in, and my other aunt lived in a 4-room log cabin. I mean, it doesn't get any Dutchier than that, you know. I mean, it was, you know, you walk in her cabin and it was like, you know, 2 rooms downstairs where the fireplace was. Well, that wasn't there anymore, but then the hallway, like a curved steps going up to the top of the steps. And to me, that just, you know, it stuck with me because I thought to myself, how unique is this to be able to, you know, witness this part of history in my own family,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you
You know,
100%.
it's the having that and being interested in history, you know, ever since I was 11 years old. Now, I don't know if you want to talk about my art, but if you want to,
No, go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
it intertwines with it
Okay.
because at age 11, I started taking art classes from a World War II veteran. He was a pilot in the Second World War. Very interesting character. And he was from Ephrata area. His name was Jay McVeigh. And he told me stories about being in the service. And, you know, starting out with that, it and then I was always interested in Civil War history. That was a big thing. So I had all these things coming together. And by the way, my father married a Polish woman, right? She was from Reading. So every weekend I would go to my mother's side of the family and they all spoke Polish. So when I went to my father's side of that family, they spoke Pennsylvania Dutch. Wow. As a kid, I was like mixed up, you know, because it's like, all right, this weekend I'm going to hear some strange language, you know. So, you know, that all intertwined. But again, going through that childhood and developing an interest in history, it helped solidify my interest. And, you know, I always liked historical artwork. So, and I like the illustrators. And as I was, you know, going through, you know, early stage, you know, through high school and stuff like that, and I always liked that. But when I got into history, I wanted to live it. You know, I always wanted to get in, you know, put the uniforms on of a soldier and things. And, and I did that for a number of years. I did that for 40 some years for the Park Service at Gettysburg, you know, camping, sleeping on the battlefield and doing reenactments. So, you know, I've always had that inside of me to do that. And with that, my art was always there. And there were a lot of people that painted pictures, historical paintings with Civil War, Revolutionary War, you know, that genre. But I thought to myself, why can't I do something with the Pennsylvania Dutch? Because that's my heritage. And you know what? I don't really care because I know I used to deal with some art galleries in the Lancaster area, and they would always say to me, well, you know, Jeff, if you would paint more Amish scenes, you know, that would sell. And I'm there, yeah, I could. But I said, that's not of my heritage. I want to show the people that I grew up with and the people, the Lutherans in the Reformed Church, you know, the people that were in that, you know, namesake. And that's what led me to do what I'm doing now.
Well, perfect transition. Let's look at some of your art.
Okay.
So you sent me a bunch of paintings. You just let me know. I mean, I'm just going to show them on the screen. So the first thing I guess we want everybody to know is all of your work, I mean, you predominantly do watercolors.
Yes.
Is everything you do watercolors?
Well, I did paint oil at one time. And I work in acrylics, but that really dries fast. I worked for Sight and Sound for a time. I don't know if
Okay.
you heard of that
Yes. Yep.
business.
Yep.
And I worked with them, but the smell with oil paints would that kind of like I get a headache from painting with the oils and the turpentine. So, but I was kind of a natural with watercolors because watercolors are very, how should I say, very um, intense because unlike oil or acrylics, you can paint over them. So in other words, if you have a tree somewhere or a house or something and it doesn't really fit in and you want to get rid of it, well, you can paint over that. But with watercolor, that stains the paper. So basically, if you make a mistake, you have to live with it. So basically, with watercolors, it's kind of a challenge because you've got to really think about what you put on that paper first before you do it. By the way, this picture, this farmhouse and barn that was with it was adjacent to the Sam's Club off of the Fifth Street Highway. If you're familiar with that,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
right across the street from Pole Corporation, where the railroad ties. Well, this was
Yes.
the Fox Farm, and it was torn down. I don't know if there was a indoor ice skating rink that was built there years ago or something, but it was torn down. And I drove past that road, and I'm like, wow, this is such, it was like the house and barn were like remained in time. Like nothing was done to it. The forebay of the barn, there was even hex signs on the barn. And it was, all original. And I thought, I would like to do this. So, I painted this picture and that was a picture. And you see the pump on the outside, and then the hump in the front there on the front of the house. I don't know if you can really see it, but there's
Yeah.
like a stone. That was a Grundkeller,
Yeah.
a
A stone
Grundkeller.
archway down. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Well,
yes,
which was typical on a lot of Pennsylvania Dutch farms. Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, my
Okay.
aunt and uncle's farm had that.
Yeah. So let's look at another piece that you sent
Sure.
me.
Okay. Um, okay. A typical, uh, farm market wagon. You know, that's what they did. They brought their produce into the towns, and that's what started the markets,
Yeah.
that we have today. Such as, Leesport, Green Dragon, Roots, to name a few. The farmers would bring in their produce and meats and offer that to sell to the locals who didn't have the opportunity that lived on farms.
Right.
Because you got to remember, early farming was substance farming.
Yeah.
But around after the Civil War and a little bit before, it started to become more of a market. So they would market their goods, and that's what farming has transitioned into. It's more about selling as a product rather than more, because that's why there's not as many farmers, because
Yeah.
they produce a lot of goods for one farm.
Right. So in that first picture we looked at, you had that house was an image that you had seen. It was a real thing. But
Yes.
when you sat down to paint this painting, I want to show this slide at the same time while you're talking about it to
Yeah.
kind of go through your process to the people.
Yeah.
So you said, okay, I want to paint a market scene.
Yes.
And then does everything come in your mind?
Yeah.
And then you sketch it out. Like looks like do you sketch everything by pencil first and then
Yeah.
start applying the watercolors? Okay.
Yeah. Well, like I have reference, like I might have a photograph of an old market wagon or something like
Okay.
that. And that's what I use as reference. So then everything else then comes in my head. And that's one thing, God granted me. It was, an ability to foresee things and
Yeah.
kind of map things out, and it just comes in my head. I think about stuff and think, okay, what would you have at a market, standing? That's what I come up with.
Yeah. That's great.
you
I'm
know.
glad that you sent me this photo because it's easy for us to look at something like this and say, "Oh man, that's really great," and then think, "How in God's name did anybody create that?"
Yeah,
And to be able to see a little bit of the
yeah,
process, I think
yeah,
is for those of us that don't paint, it's like it's great to see the process involved, and it's not just Jeff sitting down and throwing watercolors on the paper.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
process to it.
Well, yeah, this is
This one, when you sent me this one, I was like, I mean, the thing about your art, and I'm going to say it if no one else does, is that when I look at your paintings, they take me right there.
well, thank you, sir.
These are scenes that, this is a farm that I drove by as a kid growing up, or that is still right down the road from
Yeah,
my dad's farm. It's
yeah.
I look at these paintings and it takes me right there. Talk a
Well,
little bit about this one or
well,
about this process.
Doug, this is what I hope to evoke in everyone that views my artwork, because you know, I literally I love what I paint. I love the subject matter, because it's not like I'm some artist that, oh, look at that pretty barn, a beautiful, to do. No, I've been in the barns. I've been in the houses, whatever. But I've experienced that part of it. So this here particular barn is in the Ole Valley. It's off Hunter Road, and where the in the foreground there's a summer house and a spring. You see in the front there, you can
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Well, there was trout in there. There was fish in that little spring they had. But what I did was I added the cows and the horses. And usually on a farm, the horses, I don't know if you can see it in the corner, the horses were always closest to the house. So that they
Uh-huh.
were easy accessibility. Because if you're looking at a barn that has the original stalls to it, you'll see that the there's a curry comb, like there might have been a rack in there and a rack for harnesses and things like
Yeah.
that in an original barn that hasn't been
Modernized
yeah,
or yeah.
modernized. But that's what and the types of cattle of the time period. Like I said, I really get into that stuff. It's like, and then the garden is between the house and barn, which is typical. You
Yep.
know, the Hingle house, the chicken house, the pigsty, the woodshed. The
Yep.
woodshed was in the center there, right where the tree is behind there. And then the hex signs are the only thing I added on that weren't not originally on this farm, but I
Okay.
just thought it would add a little bit more
Oh,
color to it,
absolutely. Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know. And that painting was a huge painting. That was sofa size. I mean, that was like 40 some inches
Oh, wow.
wide. I mean, the original. And that's in Ohio right now, believe
Okay.
it or not.
Yeah. I really like this one too. Growing up
Okay.
I mean, we butchered growing up. We didn't,
Yes.
so I mean, I had my hands inside of a turkey and chicken more than once in my life. In fact, I just did it a couple of weeks ago. And when
Yes.
I saw this painting too, again, it's not just the architecture that you're showing us the culture. You already talked about the market scene,
Yes.
and now we have something that is as important as it comes with butchering on the farm, especially if we go back in time.
Yes.
Um,
Well,
Unbelievable.
absolutely, Doug. I mean, I didn't really go into the details of showing all the internal organs and things like
Right.
that, but I tried to show, like, I don't know if you, in the foreground there is what they call the byre, and it was, where they would lay the pig. Now, I didn't have room. I should have put a bigger scalding trough, because on my uncle's farm, the scalding trough was really big.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, you lay them in there, and my dad and my uncle would, take, they had the hot water in. That was my job, to heat up, keep the water heated up.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you can see there's scrapers in there.
Hmm.
And then but that's, I mean, typical, like I said, when my uncle, they did, like 3 pigs and 2 steers, and I remembered that, but I wanted to make it of an older era, and that's why I put, like, it could be like 1880s, 1890s, turn of the century, probably
Yeah.
in this picture. And
What I also think is so important about images like this is, especially for people that didn't grow up on a farm but are Pennsylvania Dutch and they're trying to reconnect or connect with their culture and their history and they're reading about it. If they go back far enough in their family tree, most likely they're going to run into farmers, and
yeah,
to understand how hard it was for our the previous generations to survive, to have
yeah,
food throughout the year, and it wasn't just running down to the grocery store and picking stuff up. I mean, it's so
yeah.
important for us to always remember that, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, there was a whole process.
Yeah.
Like I said, when they did it, I remember my, aunt would make, and they clean the stomach out of the pig, and then they use that wooden knife, and then they would scrape the sausage, the not the sausage, but the
Intestines.
intestines,
Yeah.
and soak them in water and stuff, and then they fill them. They do that in the basement of the house, and that's what I'm saying. It left a mark on me that was like I was witnessing history.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But this was in the 60s or mid to late 60s when I was watching this stuff being done, and then later on in life, you look back and you go, wow, now they're doing it at the folk festival to show this stuff, but you
Yeah.
actually, you know
Yeah. No,
participated in this
I
stuff,
know. I know. I know. I know.
and cleaning chickens. I remember my
Yeah.
dad one time, we're on my uncle's farm, and I was just a young lad, and my dad grabbed the chicken it was a chicken run around. He took it, and he had a hatchet, and bam.
Bam.
And,
Done.
and I'm like, I looked at my dad, the chicken's running around, and I'm like, okay, I guess I learned what it's all about.
I love this piece so much. This
Uh,
just to me is, oh my God. It is Pennsylvania Dutch. I mean,
yes.
I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, this is on the Ole Valley as well. This is on Covered Bridge Road.
Mm,
And again, I put a dirt road on it. I don't, it was asphalt, and I just like the tone, and the mood, of the
mm.
painting. That's the lavenders and the white barn, and it just signifies, like you said, it's Pennsylvania Dutch.
So for a painting like this,
Yes.
how many hours of work from start to finish would you say is normal?
Oh, eh, I mean, years ago, I used to uh, write down every hour.
Yeah.
I don't anymore because it could number in, 20 hours. It could number, 40 hours. I have no really,
Okay.
you know, I don't know anymore.
And is your process like, will you you have a place wherever you do your art? Is it where you'll I'll grab a cup of coffee in the morning and I'll paint a
Yep,
little bit, and then I'll go do something else, and then
yep,
come back and I'll touch up a
mow
little bit
grass.
here, and yeah,
Yeah,
right. Okay. Okay.
yeah. Well, and there are days that, it's kind of like you have a blank. Like you'll sit there and you're like, okay, what am I going to paint? And then it's like you go through this spells. Then I go into something else, and then I might read a book or something, and all of a sudden something pops in my head, and I'm like, wow, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll make a cool picture. And this is one of the earlier ones that I did. That other one with the farm, the red barn
Uh-huh.
that you like so much, that was in the same time frame that when I painted those two. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. Oh, this one. Yeah.
This is a relatively newer one, right, Jeff?
Yes. 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 Um, it typifies a Pennsylvania Dutch kitchen, and what I wanted to show is that it's transitioning because
Okay.
you look, okay, and you can see on the back corner, you can see a proctor,
Yeah.
or a birth certificate,
Right,
in
right.
the background. So it's something like they have it on their wall. They're progressing. You can see the wallpaper on the wall. So
Mhm.
now they're changing. Um, from the hearth fireplace. Now we've got the cast iron wood coal burning stove. but we're still, and look at the angel back chair. I have
Yeah.
that in there. And that was another thing, you've seen all them hand painted chairs.
Yeah.
And at this time period, they're not, the water still had to be brought into the house. So if you look on the left side of the picture, you see the dry sink.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would have been where, you'd done the dishes, but you poured water in there and then they cleaned them and then they emptied it, drained it, and there's a bucket, on the side there.
Yep. Yep.
And then the transit, that's from above the door. My first house had one of them. And it, like, you could open it up, you let air, because of course there was a screen up top. Because if you just wanted to keep the door closed, you could and just leave your transit open.
Yeah.
But it didn't make any difference because the door was open, the window was open anyway. So let the flies in. And the 1880s, that time period, turn of the century, is when they came out with the what those gluey fly sticks that we see that hang from the ceiling.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's that kind of, when that era, when it came out, but, and also, if you notice, there's not like cabinetry like a modern kitchen. It's all on shelves, and the only thing that you see in there is the pie safe. And that's where they, and obviously, she's baking a lot of pies. I mean, because that's what my Aunt Edna and Emma, my Aunt Emma, they would bake all the time. That was their main thing, baking,
Yeah.
and the farm folk, they would, it wasn't anything to bake, 15, 20 pies for a week, with their food. And then the lady at she's cooking fresh sausage, and maybe boiling potatoes. That was a simple meal back then.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not electrified. There's a coal oil lamp on the doorway, so it was all lit by coal oil. And the coffee grinder, the meat grinders. I have all kinds of little details that you can see. The stove cleaner. There's
the more you look at it, you start seeing, like when you first look at it, then you start really looking around. There's so much.
Well, the porcelain ware that you see, the coffee cups and the big coffee pots, that didn't come out till after the Civil War, and it really didn't become popular about the 1880s, or it was, that every household. Usually, it was more the upper class that could afford that kind of stuff. But then they developed the process that they could make that porcelain ware less expensive for the common people. So as you can see, she's baking probably a peach and then raspberry, pies and stuff like that.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
So anyone from Berks County, as soon as you see this, you're going to be like, I know that place.
Yeah. I worked there as an artist for them, a restoration artist, for the last 3 years before they closed. And to me, it was, an honor to work there, because, like all of us that lived near there, you went in there and you could see it was dated, but
well, that added to it, in my opinion. That added to it.
Oh yeah, yes, it did. But the man that did that was amazing. Lawrence Gehringer was an amazing man. And what he created, and then, like I said, the Pennsylvania Dutch Gift House, that wasn't, today, it's gone. You don't have that, and that was our claim to fame.
You're right.
You could go in there and pick up a hex sign, anything, books or anything, in Pennsylvania Dutch. You go to, Lancaster County. I mean, you can find it, every corner that there is. But then they're selling hex signs, which really isn't part of their culture in Lancaster County, But this was the true, and I just wanted to capture it. And I put the statue, like a little corner post in there with the fiberglass figures that were,
Yeah.
that was like an iconic, when you drove through off 78, you seen those figures. And now they're actually like very close to where I live on the other side of Myerstown
Yeah,
in
they got sold. I'm
Whiteville.
so glad that they didn't get destroyed when everything
Well,
went
the
to
one
auction.
was,
But yeah,
yeah, but um, you know, but like again, it's an iconic thing. It served for hundreds of thousands of people that went through roadside America. They did get a part of America when they were through it to see it.
yeah. Well, we have one more painting to share with
Sure.
everybody. Well, I can want to share this with you, Jeff. Jennifer says that's not a picture. Oh my word!
Well,
It looked
you
so
know,
realistic.
yeah, I put all like I wanted to show all the little paintings that was on the decorated of the gift shop, and there
Yeah.
were hex signs that were displayed in the windows and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. And that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
the owner of that she was very dedicated to the Pennsylvania Dutch, and she was very much you know a backbone of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have one last painting to share with everybody, and I think this one is so darn cool. So you break the rules a little bit on this one, Jeff, and
Yes, I
you have to
did.
tell us about what was your idea for this?
Well, when I was a kid, that's what I did. I used to build cardboard models of bank barns. As in grade school, like in like kids were drawing barns in school. The typical Midwestern barn. No, not me. I was drawing bank barns, and I'm like, I was into that stuff. In fifth and sixth grade
You
already.
were not the typical kid, Jeff. You were
No,
not the typical kid.
no. I mean, well, today it's a whole different, you know, there's so many different influences that we have, because it's all instant now.
Yeah,
You
right,
know,
right, right.
I mean, when you went, with your parents, you went on a drive. Now if you want information, you just look it on your phone and you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
find it.
yeah.
But anyways, getting back to this, I was always enthralled by the barn, and I wanted to show what it looked like inside. So viewers can actually, now it's not, a lot of it, but I wanted to give an idea of what the stalls would look like and your feed alley, Futtergang,
Yeah.
and then your hay racks that would be in there. And, to show how that a typical barn would look like. And then the upstairs, where you had your fort that would run along it was like a trolley that would go
Yeah.
back and forth. And I found on YouTube a video of in Lancaster County that they were actually taking horses and bringing a load of hay, and they were
Mhm.
actually putting loose hay in a barn because that's how it was stored loose.
Yeah.
It wasn't baled or round baled like they do today. It was all stored loose. And then I added in the center part where the threshing floor was the Gruber wagon,
You
which is
sure
a
did.
very, important thing to our culture in this area.
Absolutely.
And so, and I just wanted to show that part of it. And then, I have the shook cart, the wheelbarrow, the
Yeah.
man taking, cleaning out the manure,
Now you gotta do that.
and putting in the corner of the barnyard and the gates and the lady that you can see she might have milked the cow and she's bringing
Yeah.
in some milk into the house, and the cat's following the dog. But that's typical.
Sure it is.
I
Yeah.
know it's loaded with a lot of stuff in it, the painting, but I didn't want it to be like a per se of an artistic rendering. No, I wanted to show a 3D version of what a barn would look
Yeah, I think that's
like.
what I mean, it's so different. You could have just done the whole red barn with the hex
Yes,
signs, and that would have
and
been awesome as well. But to deconstruct it like this and open it up, when I saw you were posting images of this on social media as you were working on
yes,
it, and I just thought this is so different and so darn cool. So
Yeah.
I wanted to save this one for last because I think it's
Oh,
no one else would have. And like you said, it's got so many things going on. And right away my eye caught the Gruber wagon. I was like, there it is. You know,
yeah.
it's like it's unreal. And so one of our guests here on the one of the audience members, Jeff Brigida says, do you take commissions to paint family farms?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll have Jeff's contact information in the show notes, Brigitte. You can check it out there. Dolly wants to tell you also, thank you, Mr. Marks. You are a treasure and your paintings are so special, so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And a friend of ours joining us from Lautre, which is over in Germany, says he was so immersed listening and looking at the pictures that he didn't say greetings right away. And he likes, or she likes, how the light comes through. Boy. It's great. No, Jeff, I'm telling you, you are a treasure. And if anyone's interested, a lot of Jeff's artwork is for sale as prints. If you get on Etsy and you look up J Marks Watercolors, I think I'm going to have a link as well for that in the show notes, so you can check out his online store. I only showed you a small number of the paintings that he has out there. He has some great hunting ones, as you can kind of see in that upper left hand corner. There's a pheasant flying. That was my childhood. They're all gone too now. No more pheasants.
Yeah. I did that too.
But Jeff, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show and
Sure.
allowing us to tell your story, look at your art, because I'm telling you, whenever you are posting things online and when you show progress, every time I see the first ones and I'm like, where's he going to go with this? What's it going to look like when it's done? And then I follow you to see what the final product's going to be. And I just think, I don't think there's anybody out there capturing this aspect, these snapshots in time from the late 1800s of how we lived.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, there are still, many of us who have a physical connection to these people too yet. Like you said, you grew up with family that still butchered, that still did things, to a certain extent, the way that we do as well today. And that was my childhood as well, even though I was in the 80s. But I still grew up on a farm that my brother and I would run around up there in the hayloft and the threshing floor and through the stalls and all that stuff. And then the Futtergang and we butchered, and yeah. I mean, when I look at these paintings, I look at your work, and it takes me there. It physically takes me, not physically, but boy, it sure feels like it's physical sometimes. Well, and it just makes me connect. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Doug, because there's going to be a time when that connection isn't going to be there, because generation after generation, we're slowly losing it, because you're going to have farm kids that, I mean, they grow up on a farm, but the process
is totally
won't
different
be there anymore.
Yeah, right.
More modernization.
Well, and that's where your art's going to build that bridge for us.
And
it will.
It will. I want to do that, Doug.
Jeff, you are absolutely doing it.
I feel that we are a family, and we have to do that in order to preserve. I mean, you're into language, okay? So I don't have that. I mean, I heard it and everything, but I want to do something that adds to what you're doing and saying, and that the people, even though our generations, the older generations are slowly, it's fading away, but I just want that the younger people, that they have a flashback into what was of the culture that is and here again.
Well, Deanna maybe says it better than I can. Jeff is my favorite artist, and I'm going to Etsy right after this. Thank you so much for giving us paintings to remind us of what our past was and to be proud of it at the same time. So there's some great comments for you, Jeff. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Jeff, if you keep, I know you're going to keep working. So in a couple of months, we'll have you back on and look at some of your latest prints. How's that sound?
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to get a hold of Jeff, like I said, I'll have the link to his Etsy shop. He's also on social media. If you're on Facebook, Jeff, are you on Instagram? I don't remember.
No.
Okay. Well, you need to get on Instagram, Jeff. It's super easy.
I gotta get. I know. Well, we just got a telephone.
I'll help you out, brother. I'll
No.
help you out. All right, Jeff, it's been such a pleasure having you
All
on.
right.
I know that everyone enjoyed your work. Thank you so much for what you do for our
Sure.
culture, for our history, and your talent. And I'm glad that you use the talent that you've been given. Thank you so much, Jeff. And we will talk soon, I promise.
All right. Well, thank you, Doug. Thank you for
Mach's
having me.
gut, mein Freund. Mach's
Not
gut.
you all.
Well, what do you think, people? Holy cow. I don't know if it gets any better than that. I'm sure many of you have the same kind of visceral reaction seeing Jeff's work that I do. It truly takes me to a time period in history that I never lived, but I feel like I did when I see his art. It's building bridges between our forefathers and foremothers and us that are here today. What wonderful work, Jeff. We have a little bit more information to share with everybody before we close out. As every month, we give you, always want to bring some Pennsylvania Dutch language stuff. And it's the month of October. That means fall is here and Halloween's around the corner. So I wanted to share some vocabulary, some Pennsylvania Dutch words associated with this time of year. I got the Pennsylvania Dutch down the left-hand side and the English down the right that you can all see. So I'll say the Pennsylvania Dutch. You can say it with me or just look at the English and see what I'm saying. And here we go. Let's learn some Pennsylvania Dutch real quick. So the month of October in German is, in Pennsylvania Dutch is Oktober. October. And fall or autumn is es spootjaar. Es spootjaar. Literally translates into late year or like late time of the year. Spootjaar. The word for pumpkin is a karps, die karps. Maybe you've carved your pumpkin already. I haven't, but we have some on the front porch. I came home today and I looked at the yard and I said, I'm going to have to work on these next two things here this weekend. But the word for a leaf, one leaf is es blad, and leaves, the plural, is die blätter. Die blätter. And if you got tons of leaves in your yard like I do right now, you're going to have to get out die Reche. Die Reche is the word for a rake, and the verb to rake is Reche as well. Halloween's right around the corner. The word for Halloween in Pennsylvania Dutch is da Spookobed. Da Spookobed. And the word for ghost, we have two words. I've seen both, es Spook or es Gespook. Either one works. I grew up saying Spook, but Gespook works as well. The word for a witch, a lot of us know this word, die Hex. Die Hex. A bat is die Speckmaas. Die Speckmaas. This is one of my favorite words in Pennsylvania Dutch. The word for a skeleton is da Genochejokkel. Da Genochejokkel. I just love that word. It's such a fun word to say. A jack-o'-lantern is es Erdlicht. Es Erdlich. And two words for monster, there's da U-Mensch and es Ungeheuer. Da U-Mensch and es Ungeheuer. Now, I also grew up hearing a lot of my Pennsylvania Dutch family just say da Monster. Monster. So you could use that too. Take the English word and just make it sound Pennsylvania Dutch. Da U-Mensch, es Ungeheuer, or da Monster. So a little bit of Pennsylvania Dutch for you this month, as is always the case. And I always bring you a song. For those of us in southeastern Pennsylvania, we can't, things sports-wise, not everyone's a sports fan, but let me tell you something, people. The Philadelphia Eagles, our local professional football team, they're undefeated. Our professional baseball team, the Philadelphia Phillies, are playing amazing baseball right now in the playoffs. In fact, I'll check the score. Oh, they're losing right now. Okay, well, they were winning. They're losing 4-7 right now, but they won last night's game, and they have a good chance at making it to the World Series. Our hockey team, the Philadelphia Flyers, are 3-0. So if you're a sports fan in the greater Philadelphia region right now, boy, you are flying high. And if you're an Eagles fan, we know that the Eagles have this traditional song that they sing at all of their games called Fly, Eagles, Fly. Anyone that's an Eagle fan knows this song. Well, a couple of years ago, our good friends, the Miller brothers from Berks County, from the Virginville area, took this very famous song, Fly, Eagles, Fly, and translated into Pennsylvania Dutch. And that's what I want to play for you guys tonight. So I'm going to have to remove this from the stream and bring in share screen. Give me 1 second, guys. Fly, Eagles, Fly, but in Pennsylvania Dutch. Ho, ho, ho. Now I got to make this big, and I'm going to hit play. Enjoy. Oh, my dear Miller brothers. I love you guys from taking that on. That was just great last year or a couple years ago when they decided to do that. I just thought that was so awesome. So I wanted to share that with all of you, dear friends, dear friends, dear friends, dear friends. We have a little bit more news before we're out of here. As many of you know who follow the show and follow what we're doing in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch region, we have an online merch store where you can get all your Pennsylvania Dutch merch. And some of you have already bought some, and that's great. Check out zazzle.com/PA Dutch stuff. Well, we have some brand new images to share with you. I'm going to bring in my co-collaborator. Sounded a little weird there saying that. Hello, Rachel. Welcome to my captain. Rachel, I'm bringing on because we have some brand just in time for the upcoming holidays that you can go and purchase. And we wanted to take a couple minutes and share with you guys some new designs that are out there on our store. Rachel, you want to talk about any of them? Please go ahead.
Well, Doug, it's so good to be back. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. It's been a really wild ride this year. So I'm really excited to be back on the show and doing some more designs with you. Some time opened up and I got really excited to get back to it. So one of the things that we talked about as the focus for PA Dutch stuff is to definitely include the language and make it really fun and contemporary, kind of illustrative, ways to approach beloved sayings in our culture and dishes. So we're trying to touch on the food, the music, silly jokes. We have great sense of humor here in the Deutscherei, right? So one thing that I know that you taught me is my favorite saying in Pennsylvanisch Deutsch, which is "Mach's gut." So that was my favorite one to do. And of course, a lot of you know that I did design school at Kutztown University for my MFA, and I'm obsessed with typefaces. So it was really fun because Doug is so fun to collaborate with because he's like, this is the saying, this is the idea, let's run with it. And I get to use all these really cool different black letter typefaces, contemporary and old fashioned. So it's been really fun to work with Doug again.
So we have, as you can see here, a couple new ones. So the light blue shirt, Ich bin Deutsch, and the one next to it, PA Dutch stuff, those we've had on our website for a while. But the other ones are all brand new. They've only come online within the last week, I think, week and a half at most. So we have the Mach's gut. And the one thing I do want to say to everybody is that they understand is these are all images of t-shirts, but you don't have to buy a t-shirt. On our store on Zazzle, you can look at these designs, and then they have over 1,000 different products that you can have these designs then printed on. Everything from magnets of all different sizes to t-shirts, of course, sweatshirts, aprons, baby onesies, towels. It's unbelievable. You can, I saw that now. It is. They have over 1,000 different products. Some of our things will fit better on other products than others. But we have the new Mach's gut shirt, which is a way of Pennsylvania Dutch of saying goodbye. The second one there in the middle is Pennsylvania, my Heimat, Pennsylvania, my homeland. And we got the little rosette hex sign there in Southeast PA. The one that I think is just so much fun, we have "We go together like Schmierkäse und Latvarik," which is cottage cheese and apple butter, which, of course, for all of us Pennsylvania Dutch people out there, we know that is a very important part of our culinary tradition. And one for all, shout out to all of our 90s people that, had time in the 90s. I'm too hexy for this shirt. So that's a brand new one out there too, which I just think is so funny. Of course, the play on I'm too sexy for the shirt, but we're too hexy for this shirt. So we're gonna keep bringing some new images out. Rachel and I are currently working on spoiler alert, but a Belschnickel image that we're gonna keep. It's not quite done yet, but we're gonna bring it out.
It's actually
as soon as
done,
it is.
Doug.
Oh, it is done.
I'm
Perfect.
So sorry, it is done.
No,
yes,
that's fine.
Indeed.
Is it on the website already?
It should be, yeah.
Okay.
It's not showing up in a collection, but it is there if you look at all of our products. So something to note as well, as you all noticed, I made Doug do all the Deutsch because my accent is awful. But Yeah, it's really cool because I've been working with Zazzle for a long time, so as a third party, so I'm not actually creating the work. So it's designs and then they get uploaded to this website. I kind of finagle what I think looks the best, but then you can actually take the design and transfer it to other products, which is very, very cool and kind of gives the customer a sense of like creativity as well, which is very
Yep.
neat. But I also wanted to mention, so you're not actually ordering from us. If you have any problems, I've dealt with Zazzle a lot, and they have great customer service. I've had things reprinted and redone. I actually designed this flag with Rob Schreiber, and it came out beautiful. But I kept telling people, if you have any problems, really great customer service. So keep that in mind if you're not happy with something. I know one of our friends did order one of the Big Mama Hex shirts, and she just didn't like the fit of it because sometimes they make these woman t-shirts and they're really tight. So please don't hesitate. Send it back and get something you like. So I wanted to make sure to mention that as well. And a
And
lot of these designs, I'm sorry, Douglas.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
I've been quiet for so long. I can't stop talking. A lot of them have started as like hand illustrations. Then I upload them, I scan them, and then I colorize them online. So they're kind of both a mix of hand and illustrative processes, of course, except for our wonderful typographic t-shirts. Karen Kresge, big shout out to my typography teacher.
The other thing I would say is I have already ordered tons of shirts from our website that I wear, and the quality of the t-shirt is good. Sometimes you get really thin, cheap t-shirts and kind of cheap t-shirts. The ones that I have ordered from Zazzle, what they come on, the shirts that they're coming on are a good, heavy t-shirt, good quality t-shirt. They've gone through the laundry a couple times. They haven't started to fade or anything like that. So, I mean, we'd welcome you to check out our store. I'll go back to the website in case you don't know it. It's zazzle.com/PA Dutch stuff. They make great, there's a lot of great stuff on there that would be perfect for Christmas gifts coming up for the holiday season, or birthday presents or whatever. And like we said, it's not just t-shirts. I ordered a bunch of magnets. Like I have one on my fridge, and I've had tons of people see it and said, "Where'd you get that magnet?" It's like, well, you can get any of these in a magnet form, or stickers. They also do stickers as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just wanted to have Rachel come on real quick and share some of these new images that we have out there for you guys to, if you're interested in purchasing. I think people are always looking for ways of showing off their Pennsylvania Dutch pride. It's great to go buy a painting from Jeff Marks, but you can't wear that on your chest and walk around the grocery store with a Jeff Marks painting around your neck. But you could wear one of our shirts and then have his painting hanging on your wall at home, right? So we wanted to throw this out there. We're going to keep bringing new product out and over time. So, check back every once in a while. And if you follow us on social media, we always will announce when anything new is out on the line. Like once that Belschnickel one is up and it's ready for sale, we'll have it plastered all over Facebook and Instagram, because we want people to enjoy this stuff. We're not making it just because, we're not making it for the money. I also want everyone to know that too. We are not trying to capitalize off of you people. We feel that there's a void out there for being able to show your Pennsylvania Dutch pride. I mean, there's one, you can go get a tattoo. That's great. It's a little expensive and permanent, but how tough is it to get a t-shirt with the phrase Max Gut on or Ich bin Deutsch? And I guarantee you, whenever I wear this stuff out in Southeastern PA, I always get at least one comment, minimum one comment. Hey, where'd you get that shirt? Or what's that shirt say? And that gives you an opportunity to then show off your Pennsylvania Dutch and say, I'm Pennsylvania Dutch. This means, that's a way of saying goodbye in Pennsylvania Dutch, or I'm Pennsylvania Dutch. That's what the shirt says. So, please check out our store. We're making this stuff for you guys so that you can, show off your proud, how proud you are to be Pennsylvania Dutch. And we're going to keep the good stuff coming. And like I said, every time something new comes out, we'll definitely let you guys know. So give us a follow on social media if you already aren't, and then you'll see and be able to see, you'll learn right away when something new comes out. So Rachel, thanks for coming up on the show to kind of talk about these things. We'll have you back on when we have some new stuff for sure to share with everybody.
Sounds good.
Max Gut,
Douglas.
All right, everybody, we're almost out of there. But if you like what we're doing, I do have to give one shout out real quick. Well, actually a couple. I'm sorry. Sheila said a while ago, but we were in the middle of talking about this. What's a Gruber wagon? Sheila, a Gruber wagon. So the Pennsylvania Dutch designed what became known as the Conestoga wagon. And I'm going to have somebody on the show in the future to talk about the Conestoga wagon, because they were and are hugely important to the development of colonial America. And it's all thanks to us. This type of flatbed wagon that was used. So a Gruber wagon in Berks County, there was the Gruber Wagon Works. They were a company that were making these Gruber wagons. And a lot of times you would see them on farms because they were predominantly produced for farms, and those were used to haul the hay in from the fields. And they're these giant flat, and they were almost always painted green and red because those were the colors that the Gruber family used. If you travel to Reading, Berks County today, and the factory is still standing at the Berks. What the heck's the name of it? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm drawing this blank. If anybody out there knows, come on, tell me. Right outside of why I'm missing. I can't think of it. Oh, I feel so bad. But you can see the original factory. You can tour it, and they have some original pieces as well. But I'll try and get somebody on to talk about Conestoga wagons and Gruber wagons in the future. If anybody out there knows the expert, let me know, and we'll get them on. Another shout out real quick. One of my current students, Connor Folt, says, "Hey, what's up, Herr Maidenford?" Well, Connor, thanks for joining the live stream tonight. Sorry I didn't get to you earlier when you said this. Bonus point to you in the grade book for checking out the live stream. Dolly Moyer saved the day. She goes, "It's the Berks Heritage Center." Oh my God, I can't believe I drew such a blank. Dolly's right. Check them out online, and you can learn more about the Gruber Wagon Works that is out there. Real quick. Oh yeah, Rachel also reminded me. I gave a shout out to rest in peace to our good friend Uncle Jeffrey Tapler. Well, also just yesterday or 2 days ago, we learned that another good friend of the Pennsylvania Dutch, Butch Imhoff, passed away as well. If you were ever at the Kutztown Folk Festival and you saw a guy sitting in a tent playing guitars who was trying to teach other people how to play guitars, that was Butch Imhoff. So he passed away as well. I don't know. I mean, I was surprised. I don't know if he was sick or not, but we say rest in peace to our good friend Butch Imhoff, another good Pennsylvania Dutchman as well. If you like what we're doing here in the channel and the show, you can support us financially by buying me a coffee. No pressure whatsoever, but any money that's raised through this goes to the upkeep of the channel. New things, new technology helps pay the bills, and I appreciate any donation that you make, but don't feel that you have to make one. But if you feel so moved, I greatly appreciate it. Mark your calendars, because our next episode of PA Dutch Live will be on Wednesday, November the 16th, right before Thanksgiving. And in November, I welcome a very special guest on the show, and we're going to talk about a very special topic. Martha Coons will be on to talk about this famous event in history known as the hanging of Susanna Cox. If you've ever been to the Kutztown Folk Festival, you will know that for years they told the story, the Folk Festival told the story of this famous hanging that took place in Berks County in the 1800s. A lot of people don't know the story. Martha has often been the person that told the story at the Folk Festival. And when I was at the Folk Festival this summer, I ran into her and I said, "Martha, would you please come on the show to tell my audience this story?" And she said, yes. So we will have her on next month to talk about this story of the hanging of Susanna Cox. If you've never heard the story, it is really fascinating. And it's way more important in American history than what anybody, I think most people realize. And Martha will, that's your teaser to bring you back next month on the 16th. So mark your calendars, November 16th. It's a Wednesday, 6 p.m. right here live on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. Check it out now once. And I believe that takes us out for another month. My dear friends, it is always a pleasure and a joy to be with you guys for an hour or so every month. We ran a little long this month, but there was just so much great stuff. Again, check out Jeff Mark's Etsy page. I'll have the link in the show notes. Check out our Zazzle store if you're looking for some Pennsylvania Dutch merchandise. Check out PA Dutch 101 on Facebook and the YouTube channel if you want to learn more about the Pennsylvania Dutch, our language, our culture, our history. I will point you in the direction that you can learn more if you want to and connect with our heritage or maybe your heritage. As is the case every month, I love seeing all of you. I welcome you back next month on the 16th. And as we always close every show out and practice your Pennsylvania Dutch here, everybody. Till next month, Max gut. Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir für now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist, Max gut für now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir für now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist, Max gut für now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Und so Max gut, Lieber Freund, mag's gut.